Good morning. Welcome. My name is Kim Doyle, and this is intended to be a spiritual slow flow yoga class. So we'll do some nice warming up, slow movements through the body. It's the first day of my moon cycle, so I'm feeling pretty tender. And with these online yoga classes, I'll be moving with you. And then from there we'll move into some more flow type movements, getting a nice stretch. There will be some more strengthening moves, but we're definitely working more with the energetics of the body, moving through a nice slow flow, and then finishing off the class with a deep meditative shavasana. I'll be doing a little drop-in here in the beginning of class about Venus retrograde. Venus goes retrograde today, and I like to incorporate a little bit of astrology into my classes. I always say the caveat, even if you don't believe in astrology, there might be something for you in this. Just as much as if I pulled a random book off my bookshelf and read from the middle of the book, without even knowing who wrote it or why, it may or may not speak to you. And if you're finding this video either live or on the replay, likely it will speak to you, because that's just kind of how the universe works. So if you'll be staying for yoga, you can get your area set up with a mat. If you have one, you don't need one, you can just do yoga on the floor. I also like to have a couple of pillows handy as props. I'll start by sitting on them. And if you happen to have any other yoga props, bolsters, or a couple of blocks, go ahead and grab those and have those ready. Again, they're not necessary, and if you don't have yoga props and would like to have some, send me a message. I can guide you through the process of acquiring them. So we'll start just getting nice and comfortable here. I'll do a reading about Venus retrograde, and then from there we'll move into the yoga flow. So Venus retrograde is especially interesting to me as someone who does believe in astrology, and I'll tell you the reason I do is because at first I used astrology just to theme my classes, and it didn't really matter whether I believed in it or not. It just gave me like a new theme for every class, and I loved that. And then I started reading about astrology to my yoga classes. I've been doing this for, I don't know, 5 or 6 or 7 years. I'll have to check on that. And I found my students would come up to me after class and they would say, wow, it's like you were reading a page from my own journal. And it was like week after week after week, I just got the feedback of so many people were aligned to these messages. And so if you're just starting with astrology, take it as an experiment. Read about it, check in with it. You can check in just through my yoga classes, and then ask your friends and family and coworkers how they're feeling, and you'll start to see if these astrological themes, or I like to think of them as waves of energy that are finding the earth, that are affecting the earth, that are affecting us. You'll start to see if they resonate for you and if they resonate for those around you. And that way, you know, you're not just blindly believing, but you're paying attention and experimenting. And that's the same approach I take to yoga. As opposed to just doing every pose just because a teacher tells you every time, pay attention to what's happening in your body. Figure out what poses feel really good to you, and if you need to take modifications or if you like to take things further. And that being said, I'm super open to special requests. So if there's any special requests in terms of stretches, strengthening poses, specific poses, parts of the body, spiritual concepts that you'd like kind of woven into your meditation, you can send me a message about those special requests. If you're watching live, you can send it now. If you're watching on the replay, you can send me a direct message, because I can do an entire class leading up to a specific pose if you have questions, if you have a desire for that. So please let me know. So diving a little bit into Venus retrograde, I personally have 5 planets, I think 4 planets in like an asteroid or something in Taurus. Just had my birthday on Friday. And I have 4 in Libra. And Venus is the one planet that happens to rule 2 signs. So I have 9 planets ruled by Venus. And I always thought that was kind of interesting and unique. And a few years ago, we'll say 4.5 years ago, probably exactly, because Venus retrograde happens every year and a half, I was going through a really depressed period in my life. And I couldn't really figure out what was going on. And kind of towards the end of the Venus retrograde period, I found out that Venus was in retrograde, and it just made perfect sense for me. Having so much Venus in my chart and just noticing how deeply that affected my mood, my energy, specifically during the portion of time where Venus goes behind the sun. She goes into the underworld. It was like I had lost connection with my spark, with my star, with my planet, really. So there's a period of time where Venus is the evening star and goes behind the sun and comes out as the morning star, and it follows this beautiful story of a goddess that goes into the underworld. And I'm not going to go too much into that right now because I want to read to you a little bit about this particular Venus retrograde. This yoga class, I always schedule 75 minutes for it. I tend to talk during the first 10 or 15, give people a chance to jump on. And then usually around 9:15 Colorado time we'll get started. We'll go till 10:15 Colorado time, so about an hour of yoga. And these classes happen every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 9 a.m. Colorado time. So diving into Venus retrograde. Venus, the goddess of love and beauty, goes retrograde in our skies about every year and a half. When she does, she takes us into a 6-week journey into the past to uncover what may be the hidden or forgotten places in our relationships. Each time Venus goes retrograde is a chance for you to do the same, to dive into those parts of your retrograde, or of your relationships. So in 2020, Venus goes retrograde at 21 degrees of Gemini on May 13th, 2020, so today, and travels backwards to 5 degrees Gemini, finishing on June 25th, 2020. This brings up relationship issues which will not fully resolve until Venus has again turned direct and also passes the degree of Gemini where she turned retrograde, which will happen on July 28th. On that day, she'll be done retracting old relationship ground, and her mission to each of us about relationships will be over. At least for this next year and a half. Venus travels retrograde from 21 degrees to 5 degrees of Gemini. So if you have anything at all in your chart between 5 and 21 degrees of Gemini, you will likely feel this transit strongly. And if you have anything in your chart in the same degree span of other mutable signs, Sagittarius, Pisces, or Virgo, you will feel this too. The grand cycle of Venus begins and ends with the day of Aha, or Epiphany. This happens when Venus conjuncts the Sun while moving forward swiftly, and it brings an aha in our relationships and helps them progress at speed. There are 2 of them, and they act like bookends, forming the beginning and the ending of a Venus cycle. These can be called relationship rapture days. And you can see, if you look at the chart, that the current cycle begins with one on August 13th, 2019 in Leo, and finishes on March 26th, 2021 at 5 degrees Aries. So think back to what might have been happening for you around August 13th, 2019. And then planning ahead to March 26, 2021, you can kind of put that date in your mental filing cabinet so that you remember when that time comes around. There's another kind of epiphany during the Venus cycle, and it occurs when Venus is retrograde, on the day she conjuncts the sun. This can be called a relationship clarity day. Because if your relationship has been going through the ringer, clarity is likely to come on this day. This can lead to a deeper intimacy and authenticity in your relationship. Alternatively, it can also bring the clarity that leads to a breakup or a discussion of irreconcilable differences pointing to a likely breakup. The current cycle's relationship clarity day is on June 3rd, 2020 at 13 degrees Gemini. And there is a third very important point in this cycle, and that's the day when Venus once again returns to the place where it first went retrograde, 21 degrees Gemini. This is the time to pass through and onward. This can be called the Relationship Resolution Day and happens on July 28th, 2020. On this day, the cycle's themes resolve and complete. And I have a chart here that I can share with you. I'm reading from a site that I really like called Pandora Astrology. 2020's Venus retrograde period falls in the mutable air sign of Gemini, which introduces themes of communication, articulation, and stimulation. A Venus retrograde period is a time to re-examine love in your life, how you get it, how you give it, what kind of love matters most to you, and what is your type to fall in love with. The Gemini placement means we'll ask ourselves, does my relationship stimulate my mind enough? Is it intellectually interesting? Can I really talk with my partner? Do we have good communication? How could it be improved? Getting better at talking with your partner or any partners in your life and really hearing them. This is a great way to use this natural re-examination period to your benefit. Because 2020 Venus goes retrograde at a time when Juno does too, the pressure to re-examine our relationships is very strong throughout the spring of 2020. Juno retrograde began on February 8th, 2020, and finishes on May 26th. During this time, Juno travels from 21 degrees to 5 degrees of Libra, another air sign, reinforcing the cerebral, remote, and distant feel of this transit. The social distancing during this COVID pandemic actually fits the symbology perfectly. So that was just a little reading. I'm learning more about this every time it comes around, which is only every year and a half. So I like to kind of research different astrologers' takes on it, kind of amplify and give that information to you. I will share with you something that I find interesting. The last time that Venus was retrograde was between October and November of 2018. And it's especially interesting for me because I always joked that I would never start a relationship in Venus retrograde, and I would never date someone that hadn't been through Saturn returns yet. But I ended up doing that exact thing during Venus retrograde of 2018. I began a relationship with a man who hadn't been through Saturn returns, and we're going through a breakup right now. And he just started his Saturn returns during the same time period. So I find that really interesting. And then I also read this morning when I was researching for this class that the last time Venus went retrograde in Gemini was 8 years ago. So you can think back to what was happening in your life 8 years ago. So during this time, you might get calls from old lovers or crushes. You might feel inclined to reach out to them. I've had this weird inclination to tell the men in my life that I've had feelings for that I was always too scared to tell. I feel like I want to tell them right now just because I want it out of my field. Even the little crushes from when I was 10, I have notebooks with boys' names written on it. It's I don't even think that guy ever even knew. I was writing his name 100 times. Anyways, you can have these things happen. A lot of times people can have a really amazing fling during this time. But they warn not to get too attached to anything that happens during this time because it is short-lived and only happens every year and a half. And, I had a beautiful relationship that started during this time. But as soon as Venus went direct, things got a little harder. And we hung on probably a little bit longer than we could have. So here we are, next Venus retrograde, making our exit. Good morning, good morning. Thank you all for watching. Yay, Caesar says he's a Gemini. I have my Mercury in Gemini, which is a great place to have it. So we'll see what happens with my communication during this time. Again, I take astrology as an experiment. Like, I read what people are saying, and then I kind of push it all aside and just notice what's happening for me. And that's where I started to notice the cycles with the Venus retrograde for me. I start to notice certain planets and how they present in my life. And same way for yoga. Let's make this a grand experiment. So for those of you that are staying for the yoga, go ahead and find your comfortable seat. Even if you can't stay the whole time, maybe you want to stay for just part of the stretching here in the beginning. So find your comfortable seat. Roll the shoulders up and back and down. Sit up nice and tall. And just start to take some nice deep breaths. Open mouth exhales. That's the cleansing breath here. Just letting go of any expectations. Letting go of any drama. And just coming into this present moment. Take a moment to check in with yourself. Can you feel a shift today? Can you feel a shift in your heart, in your longing, in your love? Can you feel a shift in the way that you're feeling called to communicate? Just notice. Now, if you do have any intentions around this theme, Venus, the goddess of love and relationships, I invite you to set these intentions, but intentions for the next 6 weeks, 40 days to be exact, as opposed to big long-term intentions. Let's just see, what is your intention? What do you want to review or renew in your relationships during this next 40-day cycle? Take a moment to set your intention. Once you've set your intention, please bring the palms to press together at heart center. We'll begin with 2 cleansing breaths and 1 Om in through the nose and out through the mouth. This time sigh. This time Om. With the eyes closed, rub the hands together, create a little bit of heat in the hands, and place the hands over the eyes. Allow the heat of the hands to just soften the face and smile. And gently flutter the eyes open and float the hands down. If you're sitting on a pillow, you can set it off to the side. We're going to begin today with a classic spinal opening, spinal softening series. I mentioned in the very beginning of class, It's the first day of my cycle also, of course. And so I'll probably be taking it a little bit easy today. Interlace the fingers, inhale, flip the palms, open the heart. And exhale, tuck the chin, round through the upper back, press the palms away. 2 more big inhales. And exhale. Last one. And exhale, round it down. Inhale, press your palms overhead. And exhale, find the floor. Now I had someone mention to me yesterday that when I'm on the floor, the comments are kind of covering my face or my body. Most of these yoga poses you can do with your eyes closed, just listening to the sound of my voice. I believe you can turn off the comments on your screen if you would like to, but I have the whole screen set up so that you can see me when I'm on the floor, also when I'm standing, which is why there's some space above me right here. So see how it is if you want to turn off the comments, or maybe you don't need to see me. You can just listen and move and breathe. So just gently with the legs crossed, taking some nice deep breaths and swaying side to side. Hi, Lindsay, I love you. 2 more deep breaths. Last one, big inhale. And exhale. And slowly start to come on up. Switch which foot you have in front or on top. Hello, Adam. Inhale, sweep the arms up overhead. And exhale, lower the left arm down, reach the right arm over to the side. And just start to flow. Inhale up. And exhale over. Let's do 2 more. Last one, inhale up. And exhale over. Inhale up, touch the palms overhead. Exhale, gentle twist to the left, float the hands down. Inhale back through center. And exhale to the other side. So I like to think of just clearing my energetic field here with the hands. Like cleansing your personal bubble of space. Every inhale lifts you up, touch the palms overhead. And every exhale, nice gentle twist. 2 more. Last one. Inhale up through center, touch the palms overhead, and on an exhale, once again, fold forward. Just notice if you feel a little bit different, one side versus the other. Now that we switch the feet, find your gentle sway. Send the breath right where you feel the stretch. 2 more deep breaths here. Last one, big inhale. And exhale. And slowly come on up. We're going to be getting a little bit deeper into the hips today, so we'll do another warm-up move. Hopefully you felt some of those moves through the hips and the lower back. For this one, you'll cross the left foot in front, parallel to the front edge of the mat. The knee is bent at 90 degrees. The foot is also at 90 degrees. Now this back leg is going to come straight out from the back hip or slightly back, slightly a little bit more open here. So My yoga teacher in Nepal called this swastikasana. Kind of looks like a swastika. But of course, they used that symbol in Nepal long before in Germany, and they actually kind of twisted it a little bit, changed the direction. So, but you can kind of see what I'm talking about in your legs, and that's what we're going for. From here, there's a diagonal from the heart to the foot. So inhale, sit up nice and tall. And on an exhale, bring the hands to either side of that front foot. You might be feeling it already here. You're welcome to stay here. Or you can start to kind of wiggle your way deeper into this pose. So an inhale is a lengthen, and an exhale is a soften. Inhale, lengthen, and exhale, soften. You can also sway side to side a little bit. That's one of my favorite ways to ease into a pose. I remember when I first started working with this pose, I became very aware of this idea of the hamstrings, plural. Not just the hamstring and the belly of the back of the leg, but that we have these lines that we can stretch on the inner and the outer of the back of the leg as well. And breathe. Hi, Adam. I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right. Getting ready for the Venus retrograde. For those of you that are just joining, today's the first day of a 40-day cycle to review and renew ideas, relationships, desires, all about love. Not necessarily the time to start a long-term relationship, although a 40-day fling is not unheard of. So if you have any intentions around what you would like to accomplish, review, renew over these next 40 days around how you give, receive, relate, around love, now's a good time to set those intentions. 2 more deep breaths. You might get your forehead to the foot. I'm nowhere close right now. We'll see how we are at the end of class. 1 more big inhale. And exhale. And slowly start to come on up. We're going to swing the legs around, opposite direction, so that shin comes straight out of the front knee. 90 degrees in the knee and the foot. Left leg is either straight off of the hip or slightly back. Foot is flexed. Inhale, lengthen. And on an exhale, find that diagonal line from your heart to your foot and just bring the hands to the foot. Hi, Brooke. We're just getting started. Inhale, lengthen. And exhale, soften. Just nice and gentle here. If you're joining us, feel free to take a moment to drop in and jump in on the next pose. Set your intention, maybe say an Om. Let's do a few more deep breaths here. Every inhale, lengthen. Every exhale, soften. You might sway. You might notice a huge difference side to side. On that first side, my head was nowhere near my foot. Here I'm a couple inches away. And we'll come back to this pose at the end of class. So just taking a baseline reading, and then we'll see how we are at the end of class, letting this whole yoga experience be an experiment. Just like astrology, experiment with what happens over the next 40 days, Venus retrograde cycle. And then you'll notice in a year and a half, again, if it comes up for you again. 2 more deep breaths here. Last one, big inhale. And exhale. And slowly start to come on up. Bring the legs out in front of you. Give them a little shake. Inhale, reach the arms up. And exhale, gentle fold. Hi, Anne. How are you? Just lengthen here. Let yourself just kind of cascade over the legs. You can make some circles with the feet in one direction. Deep breaths. And some circles with the feet in the other direction. And when you're ready, bring the legs nice and wide. We're going for a wide-legged forward fold here. Now the feet can either be flexed or pointed as long as there's energy in the feet. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, drop the left arm and reach the right arm over to the side. Inhale up. Exhale, drop the right arm, left arm over to the side. This time we'll hold a little bit longer. Inhale up. And exhale, reach. Take a moment to take a couple of deep breaths. You might come all the way to the forearm in front of that left leg, or you might just place the left hand on the inside of the left leg and use that little bit of leverage to rotate the heart open towards the sky. So ideally the arm is coming almost behind the ears, not down in front of the face. And sometimes that means coming up and out of the pose. Sometimes you might be able to drop down a little bit lower and keeping that arm behind the ear. 2 more deep breaths here. Last one, big inhale. And exhale. And inhale up. And exhale over to the other side. Take a moment to land here. Make sure that left sits bone is still rooted into the earth. If it starts to lift up, then you know you got to back out. You can keep that hand planted inside that right leg and use that for leverage to open the heart. Reach the arm. Breathe. And just see how you feel stretching through that left side body. 2 more deep breaths. Last one, big inhale. And exhale. And slowly come on up. So we're easing our way into our practice today. Let's bring the feet together here. Just starting with some nice stretching. It's the first day of Venus retrograde cycle, also the first day of my cycle, so just taking it easy on my body as I'm practicing with you guys today. So let's open up the feet like a book. Grab a hold of the ankles. Inhale, sit up tall. And exhale, draw the heart towards the feet. Resist the temptation to round by squeezing the shoulder blades to press the heart forward. Keep the back of the neck long as an extension of the spine. And if you choose, you can press the elbows into the knees. You can flutter them. You can sway and breathe. Ah. 2 more deep breaths. Last one, big inhale. And exhale. And slowly start to come on up. Let's find our way into the tabletop position. So some of you have done those poses with me before for other classes. And that's a pretty classic opening series that even if you only have, I think that was about 10 minutes of stretching in the morning. I'm posting these classes on my YouTube channel. They're also on my Facebook page. You can just jump in, fast forward to that part, and just do a 10-minute stretch in the morning. It's a great way to get into your body. All right, moving on. Lift the tailbone, lift the gaze for cow pose. And on an exhale, press the earth away, round it up for cat. Inhale, cow. And exhale, round it up for cat. This is another one you can do every morning, really. Let's do 2 more. Last. And come on back to center. We're going to move into puppy pose. So the knees stay over the hips, so they're not dropping back. They stay right over the hips. And walk the hands forward. Melt the elbows to the earth, the forehead. Maybe the chin or the heart comes to the floor. And breathe. This is a nice stretch for the spine. If you hug the belly towards the spine, you might feel a nice stretch through the psoas. Also the heart, the chest, the underarms, the shoulders. 3 more deep breaths here. 2. Last one, big inhale. And exhale. And slowly start to roll up through tabletop. And find your way flat on the belly. Hands under the shoulders. We're going to move through just our cobra flow here, warming up the spine. Inhale, lift. And exhale, lower. Yes, and we're going to do a lot of stretching today. Let's do a couple more. Inhale, lift. And exhale, lower. Hey, Katie. This time you can start to press into the hands a little bit. Just nice and slow. Every exhale, lower. Every inhale, lift. Getting a nice stretch as we find our way into our cobra pose. Don't take it too far. We'll come back. Let's do 2 more. Always keeping the elbows bent, never locked out. Last one, big in. And exhale. Inhale up through tabletop. And exhale, child's pose. So dropping the hips down onto the heels, the big toes are touching behind you. Got a very tight shirt on under here. And when you're ready, lowering to the earth. Let's inch the elbows forward as you bring the palms to press together. And bring the palms to the nape of the neck, getting a nice stretch through this tricep area here. 4 deep breaths. 3. 2. Last one. Release the hands, lifting up halfway. Walk the hands over to the right. Interlace the left fingers on top of the right hand, gripping the right palm. And then use the right hand to draw the left hand across the body. Melt the left hip, the armpit, and the forehead. And find the stretch all the way along the left side body and breathe. 3. 2. Last one, big inhale. And exhale. Lift the head, release the hands, walk back through center. Second side, right fingers interlace across the top of the left hand. Use the left arm to draw the right arm across the body. Melt the right hip, armpit, and forehead, and breathe for 4. 3. 2. Last one, big inhale. And exhale. Release the hands, lift the head, come back through child's pose. Inhale up through tabletop. Exhale, tuck the toes, lift the hips, and find downward facing dog. Hi, Maria. So downward facing dog, you're in an inverted V. Find nice strength into the hands and into the feet. Let the head fall between the arms. Bend one knee at a time as you press one heel at a time towards the earth. Pedal out the feet. Really hug the belly to the spine. I'm definitely feeling it in my back today. And I find in downward facing dog, the more I hug the belly into the spine, the more relief I feel in the back. It feels amazing. 2 more deep breaths here. Last one, big inhale. And exhale. When you're ready, walk the feet towards the hands for ragdoll. Bend the knees a lot. Grab opposite elbows, let the head hang. The way you usually grab opposite elbows, see if you can do it the other way. And just sway side to side as you straighten one leg at a time. Make some circles gently with the head in both directions. I want you to open and close the jaw. Really stretch out the face and the jaw 4 or 5 times. And as you do that, bend one leg, straighten the other, your body just sways. Breathe into the back of the legs, the hamstrings. You can bounce if that feels good to you. 2 more deep breaths here. Last one, big inhale. And exhale. Release the hands, squeeze the inner thighs. Slowly start to roll all the way up to standing. If you ever get dizzy, I sometimes do, just bring the hands to the knees and your blood pressure will equalize in like 10 seconds. Or of course sit on the ground if you need to. All right, from standing, inhale, reach it up, touch the palms overhead. And on an exhale, open the heart, find a mini back bend. Inhale up through center. Steeple the pointers, so interlace the hands and press the 2 first fingers together here. Big inhale. And exhale, tip to the right. Inhale up through center. And exhale, tip to the left. We're going to do that just a couple more times. Inhale, center. Exhale, right. Inhale, center. And exhale, left. Inhale up through center. Exhale, swan dive down into a forward fold. Inhale up to a halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands and step back with the left foot. Find a lunge here. Release to the back knee, uncurl the back toes. And bring the hands on the inside of the right leg. Tiptoe that right foot off to the right so that your hands can comfortably be on the inside of the right leg. So first we're going to hold the right knee into the right shoulder. Inhale, lengthen through the spine. Breathe into the areas of the body where you feel a stretch. Deep breaths. Now pulling the right toes towards the right knee, roll onto the right ankle and just look over the right shoulder here. We'll try that again. Inhale, come back to center, hug the right knee in. Exhale, roll over the right side so the weight is on the outside edge of that right foot. Let's do that one more time. Inhale up through center. And exhale, opening that right leg up to the right. And come on back to center. Tiptoe that right foot in so the hands are on both sides of that right leg. Curl the left toes under, straighten the left leg. If you need yoga blocks, this is a place where you can put your hands up on yoga blocks. If you don't have them, you can probably find them online. So let's step the left foot forward about a foot to a foot and a half. Bend into the right knee and come on up. We're coming into warrior one here. So the feet are as wide as the hips. They're in separate lanes. Left toes point towards the left front corner of the mat. Left heel press strongly into the earth. Right toes point forward. Right knee over the right ankle. So this is a nice stretch through that back of that left leg. Once you're there, you can bring the arms up overhead. Warrior one, and breathe. Keep hugging the belly in. I like to squeeze my glutes a little bit in this pose. It feels really good and stabilizing for my hips. Let's do 2 more big inhales. And exhale. Last one. All right, when you're ready, float the hands down. Step the left leg back. Step the right leg back. This is where if you love my power yoga flows, you can flow through a vinyasa. I'm not going to teach those today. I'm taking it nice and easy today. And we're just going to come right to downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, bend the knees and look at the hands. And on an exhale, step or hop to the top of the mat. Inhale up to a halfway lift. And exhale, dive deep. Hi, Gloria. Inhale, reverse your swan dive all the way up. And exhale, hands to the heart. So this is a chance, whenever I bring my hands to the heart, I think of it as a time to return to my prayer or my intention. So repeat out loud or in your head what your intention is for this Venus retrograde cycle. 40 days to review and renew your longings, desires on how to give and receive and be in love, how to be love. When you're ready, flutter the eyes open. Inhale, reach it up. Exhale, find a little back bend. Inhale up through center. Interlace the fingers, steeple the pointers. Maybe try the opposite pinky on the outside. And on an exhale, tip to the right. Inhale up through center. And exhale, tip to the left. Let's do one more each side just because this feels really good in my body today. Inhale up. Exhale over. Notice I look in the opposite direction I tip. Inhale up. And exhale over. Inhale up through center. Exhale, soft knees, swan dive down. Inhale up to a halfway lift. And exhale, step the right foot back. Lower to the right knee, uncurl the toes. So we're in a low lunge here. We're moving into our runner's lunge by bringing the left hand inside the left knee and toe heel the left foot off to the side just a little bit so that there's space for both hands to be planted firmly on the ground and left knee hugs into the left shoulder. Take a few deep breaths here. Let's do one more. So now we're going to flow a little bit. Big inhale. Exhale, lift the toes towards the face so that left foot can come off the ground and roll to the outside edge of the left foot. Foot is still strongly flexed, and just look over the left shoulder. Inhale, back up through center, squeeze it in. Exhale, roll it open. Do 2 more. Inhale in. Exhale, rock. Last one, big inhale. And exhale. Inhale up through center, high Peter. Bring the left hand to the outside of the left leg. Curl the right toes under, straighten the right leg. Plant the hands, step back, high plank. For those of you that like moving through vinyasas, that like the power moves, please take them. Otherwise, I'm taking it easy today. I'm going into downward facing dog. For you ladies out there, you might notice that you like to take it easy on the first few days of your moon cycle too. Please do. Even if you're taking a class at a studio, you can skip some of those power moves. You can come to downward facing dog. You can come to child's pose. Let's do child's pose together. So in child's pose, you're welcome to have the hands resting on the earth very traditionally. Lately, I've really been loving bringing the palms together. Tiptoe the elbows forward. Hands over the nape of the neck. Tricep stretch here. Also another opportunity. Hands are in prayer position. Say out loud or in your mind your intention. Two more deep breaths. Last one. Release the hands. Inhale up through tabletop. And exhale. Step it back. Warrior one. Yeah, we got to do that on the second side. Thanks for the reminder, Lindsay. I have a rule: if someone catches me missing a pose, that I get to buy them a drink, and I'm so happy it's you. Let's inhale, that left leg lifts up towards the sky. And on an exhale, step it through. So from this lunge, you're going to step the right foot forward just about a foot and press into that right heel as you start to come on up. So find yourself hips pointing forward, right heel really pressing down. Belly hugs in. The feet are in separate lanes, knee over the ankle, and when you're ready, come on up. Arms reaching up towards the sky. Remember that glute squeeze. If that felt good to you, keep breathing. Let's do a couple more deep breaths here. Last one, big inhale. And exhale. So since we kind of changed the order on this one, we're going to go right into our next pose. All right. Bringing all of your weight onto your left foot and bring your right knee in. So you're going to come into a standing pose here. Right knee comes in. Let's bring the hands to heart center. And bring the right ankle over the left leg. So you're in a figure 4 position here. I'll turn to face the camera. And from here, start to sit the hips back. Notice my right foot is flexed strongly. I like a flexed foot in this position. You can also take a pointed foot as long as there's energy, strong energy in that foot. Start to tip forward here, sending those hips back. You may someday be able to get your forearms to the knee and the foot, but not at the expense of a rounded back. I can just tell how tight I am today. And just taking it easy, not trying to go for the full pose on every day, especially if it's the beginning of your cycle, ladies. Let's breathe for 3. 2. Last one, big inhale. And exhale. And inhale through shooting star to release. And exhale, come to standing. You can take a minute to shake it out. We're going to come to that figure 4 position here on the second side. Bringing the right weight into the right foot. Soften into the right knee and hug that left knee up. Hands are at prayer position. Here's another opportunity for you to repeat your intention. As you slowly bring the left leg over the right, figure 4, foot flexed or pointed. I would recommend choosing the same decision as you did on the first side. And start to sink the hips back. Belly strong. Shoulder blades squeeze so the heart is coming forward, not the nose. So getting out of that rounding, finding a lifted heart. Slowly starting to bring the forearms forward. Maybe they reach, but see, notice how I rounded? I'm going to stay high until I'm ready. And breathe for 4. 3. 2. And 1, big inhale. And exhale. Inhale up through shooting star. And exhale, release. Shake it out. All right, coming up to the top of your mat. Inhale, reach it up, touch the palms overhead. Exhale, tip to the right. Inhale up through center. Exhale, tip to the left. Inhale up through center. Exhale, open the heart. Inhale up through center. Exhale, swan dive down. Inhale up to a halfway lift. This time we're going to go right into warrior 1. So stepping the left foot back, bend into the right knee. Inhale up, warrior 1. So we're going to do the same poses in a different order so that we can finish in a nice pigeon pose. Breathing deep into warrior 1 here with the right knee pressing forward. Take a few deep breaths. Let's do 3. 2. 1, big inhale. And exhale. Inhale here. Exhale, bring the hands down to the inside of the leg. You can toe heel that foot off to the side and slide the left foot back, lowering to the left knee, uncurl the left toes, finding your runner's lunge here. If you're feeling more open, you can see how it feels to bring the forearms to the earth. And breathe for 3. Maybe you stay high. I'm taking it easy today. 2. And 1, big inhale. And exhale. From here, big inhale, squeeze the right knee in. And on an exhale, open up, look over the right shoulder towards the right leg. 2 more times. Inhale up through center. And exhale, open it up. Last one, inhale, center. And exhale. exhale, open. Inhale up through center. Toe heel the right foot across the mat and release to the right shin. So foot is flexed or pointed. That's going to be up to you. Again, however feels the best in your body. Let's look over the right shoulder towards the left foot. Make sure the foot is not pointed in, but that it's nice and straight. Big inhale here. And on an exhale, come on down to the forearms. Once you've settled in on the forearms, bring the elbows wide, stack two hands on top of each other, and release the forehead to two stacked fists or hands. The forehead can come to a yoga block or the floor. As long as there's some energy or some energy point where the forehead is touching something. And breathe. We store a lot of old emotions in our hips. This pigeon pose is a beautiful pose to work with during Venus retrograde. You can consciously choose to let old pain of relationships resurface in this pose. And use the opening of the hips to be an opening of the heart to let out any emotions that you've been holding in through the power of the breath. 3 more deep breaths here. And when you're ready, very slowly walk back, plant the hands, curl the left toes under, straighten the left leg. We're going to press back, downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg lifts. And exhale, step it through. Step the right foot forward, planting the feet, and come on up into Warrior One. Taking the same reverse series here on the second side. Hips and feet are lined in opposite lanes here. Press strongly into that back heel. Bend deep into the left knee. And when you're ready, reach the arms up towards the sky. Deep breaths here. You can experiment with maybe diving a little bit deeper into that left knee. Pressing more into the right heel, the right big toe mound. 2 more deep breaths. Last one. Beautiful inhale here. Exhale, slowly bring the hands down. Slide the right foot back, hands to the inside of the left knee. Release to the right knee, uncurl the right toes. Left knee hugs into the right shoulder. You can play around with coming onto the forearms if that feels good to you. Find your runner's lunge here and take a few of the deepest breaths that you will take all day today. Do 2 more. Last one, big inhale. And exhale. So now we find our little flow here. Inhale, hug the left knee in. Exhale, roll to the knife edge of the left foot. Look over the left shoulder. So notice this right arm is just holding the weight. Inhale, hug it in. And exhale, open it up. 2 more. Come back to center. Tiptoe the left foot across the mat. Release to the left shin. So foot flexed or pointed. Take a moment to look over the left shoulder. Make sure that right leg is straight. That right foot is straight. On an inhale, back up through center. And exhale, come on down. Hi, Ellen. You're so welcome. If you're just joining, this replay will be available in about 15-20 minutes after this class is over. It'll be posted and you can do the whole thing. It's just a juicy stretch flow today. Taking it nice and easy, setting some intentions for Venus retrograde, what to review or renew around love, relationships, communication. So find your full variation here with the elbows wide, forehead resting on something, and breathe. Two more deep breaths here. Last. Slowly walk the hands back up. Shift the weight onto the left foot and bend into the right knee. Here we are. Swastikasana, the same pose we took in the beginning of the class. Let's just see how it feels now that we've done a little bit more juicy warming up. So 90-degree angle with that left knee and the left foot out in front. Same thing with the right leg. It's either straight out from your right hip or just slightly back. There's a diagonal of the heart going towards that left foot. Every inhale, lengthen. Every exhale, soften. Oh, yay. You've been in and out. That's amazing. Thank you so much, Alan. Take a sigh if you feel inclined. Three more. Two. Last one, big inhale. And exhale. And slowly come on up. So I just had a really interesting sensation right in the back of my left hamstring where it was really holding on tight. And when I did that vocal toning, that it actually let go. And I was able to go so much deeper. And this is why sometimes a good cry is so good, to just but you can do it in yoga too, so please, especially if you're home and you feel comfortable making some sound, give it a try. So shifting to the left hip, swing around until that right foot is forward. 90 degrees in the knee and the foot. Left leg is straight out or slightly back. On the diagonal, inhale, sit up nice and tall. Exhale, bring the heart towards that right foot. And if you can come down on the elbows, please do so. Close the eyes. Start to take those nice deep breaths. Every inhale, lengthen. And every exhale, soften. See how it feels to do a little bit of vocal toning, a little sigh and sound release to honor the energetic release that's happening. Two more deep breaths. ready, slowly come on up. Swing the left leg forward and find your way all the way down onto your back. We really did do a nice slow flow today, and actually went so slow that we're getting close to our time. So go ahead and find your way into your final relaxation pose, your final Shavasana, nice and quickly. Instead of taking a lot of time to adjust, just allow yourself to drop into the exact moment of your last relaxation pose. And allow this deep relaxation to be cumulative. So you start as deep as you were the last time you were in Shavasana. Even if it was years ago, even if you don't even remember, just drop in. And from there, allow yourself to go deeper and deeper. Just like Venus retrograding towards the underworld. In the same way that you can go back to October and November of 2018 and draw these lines of connection. Connect with these deep cycles of learning and growing and reviewing and renewing. The last time Venus was in Gemini was in 8 years ago. Think of how far you've come. Is there anything still that you desire in the realm of love, giving and receiving love, or relationship? If there's anything that is still in your field from 8 years ago, from a year and a half ago, I invite you to choose it now. Not want it or need it, but to choose it. Say it in your mind or in your heart as an intention. Maybe say it out loud. If it helps to hear my intention as a frame of reference, I choose to review and renew my relationship with myself. I choose to cut any attachments with past expectations, lovers, crushes, that those energies may exit my field as I choose to review and renew my relationship with myself during these next 40 days, so that when I come out on the other side, I am more wholly me, my fullest and highest expression of myself, ready and willing and able to attract the reflection and partnership that is waiting for me. What is yours? Say it out loud. You can type it to me in the comments after class. haven't said your intention out loud yet, please do. We've got 3 more breaths. When you're ready, very gently begin to wiggle the fingers and the toes, the wrists and the ankles. You can move the head around. Reach the arms up overhead and the feet down below. Take a nice full body stretch. And on an exhale, soften. Bend the knees one at a time and roll through the fetal position on either side. Allow yourself to feel as if you're being spooned. Recognizing that you can receive the love that you desire from the whole universe. Letting it rush in to hold you, to support you, to love you. And when you're ready, gently press yourself up to a comfortable seat. Bring the palms to press together at heart center. Sit up nice and tall. We'll seal our practice with 2 cleansing breaths and 1 Om in through the nose and out through the mouth. This time sigh. This time Om. Thumbs to the heart, lips and forehead reminds us all to keep love in our hearts, in our words and in our thoughts, even during this Venus retrograde. As we bow to each other, it is to all beings. That energy, that love, the desires, the spark within me honors the energy, love, desires, and spark within each of you. Namaste. Thank you all so much for joining me today. If you were here practicing with me, please pop a comment because I can't see exactly who all is here. And I would love to connect with you. For those of you that are able to donate through Venmo or PayPal, that's listed in the description here. I also have a link to my YouTube channel where I'm posting all of the replays of this flow class, which I'm offering on Facebook Live Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 9. I'm also posting replays of a restorative class that is available at 3 p.m. on Tuesdays and Thursdays through Zoom. So that's pretty much just on replays through the YouTube channel. I'll be posting 2 or 3 of those today. Or if you'd like an invite to that Zoom meeting, please let me know. And let me know what comes up for you during this Venus retrograde. I'm super curious. Like I said, I learned about astrology by listening and then watching as it unfolds around me. So if you have any special requests, please send me a message. I can weave those into the next class. I'm also available to support you if anybody is requiring any spiritual or emotional support. Please let me know. I'm feeling really called to offer up my coaching on a donation basis in the same way that I'm doing these classes. And please share. If you have any friends or family that would benefit from these classes or from any of the donation-based coaching, please let me know. So thrilled to have you guys here. I love you so much. Hi, Adam. Hi, Lindsay. I love you. I miss you. Mwah. I'll see you guys on Friday. Bye.